Welcome to Attican Plays Airport CEO. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to the start of a new series. We're going to be looking at Airport CEO. I should start out by saying thank you again to Apoapsis for sending me a key to the game. Those of you who know me well know that that won't change very much. I mean, I'll still tell you exactly what I love about the game and exactly what I hate about it and everything in between. So we're going to do the same setup I talked about in the introduction. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you go watch that video. But basically, we're going to set up the airport. And I finally remembered the name of it. They were going to call it the Midway Airport because it was midway between Huntington and Charleston. So that's what we're going to call it, the Midway Airport. And we're setting that up now. And this playthrough will be on extreme difficulty. So we're only going to have $500,000 to start. Hardest settings we can get. But we're going to be extremely aggressive. We're going to build very, very quickly. You'll see just how quickly we do build and how quickly we can get an operational airport up and running and how quickly we can turn around and start making money, even with a very limited amount of funds. All right, so we have our initial piece of land here. We have one of the 4 blocks available to us. And we have this just the access road to the public and a place to drop off supplies and contractors. So what we're going to do is frame up our airport. And what we're doing, we're going to have 2 runways, one for takeoff, one for landing. We'll try to fix it so that these planes can move and we can do a lot of turnaround, because that's one of the keys to making money. If you're going to invest in infrastructure, then you need to get as much out of it. You need to maximize the revenue that infrastructure can produce for you, because it's going to have costs associated with it for maintaining it. So we're going to set up a runway that runs, we're going to call the bottom of our screen when we're looking at like this south. So we're going to have a runway that is for takeoff only, and it's going to take off to the south. Then we're going to have a parallel runway that's kind of sort of parallel, that's offset with it a little bit, enough to give enough space for the taxiway to go into the first runway. And now the second runway will land planes to the north. So it'll be landing only, and it'll go up to the north, and that's where it'll hook up into our terminal. So we only need the two entry-exit ramps. We need one on each of the runways. So we're going to set this up so that we have enough space to get a service road that can go up here to the north of our terminal and our gates, so that our service vehicles can get up there and go around the terminal and be able to get to the airplanes. And we're going to set up our stands. And what am I doing right here? Oh yeah, I'm deciding where's the taxiway actually going to go, and the taxiways for small and medium aircraft are 5 wide minimum. So we're going to set it up to come off there, 3 off the landing runway, and then come down, and then we'll set up our stands like this, our small stands, and we're going to do 6. Why 6? Because 6 times 5 is 30. How's that for a great reason? And you'll see why later on. Probably in episode 2, you'll understand why 6 times 5 is 30 actually makes some form of sense. So we're going to set up the 6 small stands, and I'm going to get rid of that service road for now, because I just put it in there to help me kind of visualize where the stuff needs to go. So you can see someone would come in, a plane would come in, land on that rightermost 36R, I think it's called, and come in and then exit and go down to a stand. When they're done, they would go up to the north, turn left, and go over to the runway that is heading south and allowing for takeoffs. Now I'm just measuring how much room we have left to make sure my plan is going to work. And rather than trying to describe it to you right now, I'll just let you see it as we put it out here. So we're going to use 5-wide terminal to service these small craft. So by 5-wide, I mean 5 of the big blocks of the foundation, the terminal foundation. So like that. So that's going to be the area where you would go up and wait to board your flight, where you would board the flight, and what have you. Now, right now, I'm just thinking a little bit, which, as most of you know, is an unnatural act for me. So I'm doing the best I can to try to plan out how I want to go about this. So what we're going to end up doing here is setting up a well, what are we doing here? Looking to see if we can get more money. And look at that. We can get $2 million for 6%. That's a lot of money. That's excellent. So we're going to grab that. And this is the aggressive nature of this approach. As I was saying, we're not going to back off or try to, make money on general aviation for 5 years and trickle money in until we can expand into something else, commercial or otherwise. We're going to aggressively build our airport, get something reasonable size up and running quickly, and try to kind of race the clock on our debt, because now that we took out that $2 million, we're paying it back every hour. We're making payments on that $2 million, so it is draining the money that we just got is going to drain away without anything coming back. At least that's the bad news. The good news is we have all this money now to go ahead and aggressively build the airport we want to do, at least the starter airport. So now you can see we've expanded it out, and we're going to take advantage of that little strip of foundation there and set up a total of 12 small aircraft. Now what I'm doing here is figuring out, okay, what I'm seeing here is one prong, if you will, going up through there for small aircraft, and then a second prong when we eventually get to the medium aircraft. And here's why 6 times 5 is 30 matters, because 10 times 3 is also 30, and that's the width of a medium-sized stand. So the medium-sized stands, right here where we're looking, if there's enough space out through here, and that's what I'm calculating to make sure I've got enough space to have the taxiway come down to the left of that green, and have the medium stand and terminal, and medium stand on the other side, and a taxiway on that side to support those medium planes that'll be all the way out to the east. And we have enough space to do it, so good deal. So now we're going to put in kind of our main terminal. This is going to be the area to start with. This will be the area where you check in, go through security, and go to your gate, and then you leave through this area as well. So this is going to be the heartbeat. This is going to be the this is it. This is our terminal right there. That big chunk, 32 by 14. And it's a pretty good size, and it could even be bigger. Now my plan is to go up, to use multiple floors as we get bigger. So what I'm doing there is just confirming that I got the math right. I counted it out correctly. And we're going to go ahead and build this side over here, even though we're not going to be using it for quite a while. We're going to get a bunch of contractors coming up here to do our building, and we might as well build a lot of stuff while we're at it and get it ready to go. So now we've got the basic terminal all set for us, at least the first floor thereof. And so we've got a nice basic terminal there. We've got a taxiway set. And by the way, you only need, on these small ones, you only need a single strip of taxiway for them to function. obviously it looks a little funky, and eventually you want to have a full-blown runway, and we'll get there when we have more funds. But for right now, with money tight, we're going to do it like this. And what we're going to do now is set up the door and the door that goes out to the plane, the seating for people who are waiting for a plane, and set up a little bit of decorations and trash cans, so trash cans and plants and benches, and the doors that we need for exit. And we're going to make sure that we can build all that while these guys are running up through their building. They might as well build out what we know we'll eventually need. Now, for our general aviation, which is what we're going to start with, we don't need any of this stuff. We don't even need terminal. We don't need any of this stuff, and we could skip all this building. But again, this is my aggressive nature. I want to get all this ready and prepared for when the day comes. So we're going to build a template out of that, and then we're going to go up through here and copy it into the rest of the gates, so that we can, so that we don't have to build all those individual pieces each time. We'll just use the template and do a copy paste. Now, then we get to the last one, it's going to be different because it doesn't have the extra room to the north. So we're going to just take one of the benches and flip it around the other way, and then just put it kind of across. And I was looking here to say, do I want to squeeze a bathroom in up there? And I decided, no, we're just going to have the benches. So when you get down there to wait, you're going to wait and you're going to fly. That's going to be your job. And when you get off the plane, your job's to get out of there. So that's going to give us our seating and some decoration and trash cans, and the doors to get out to the stands. So there we go. There we've got one side completely set up. Now this side over here, I contemplated going ahead and trying to set it up. I decided to wait. And I'm also thinking about, now we've got bigger gates over here, bigger stands, 10 by 10. We've got bigger planes that hold more people, and we're going to need more benches. But the bad news is, of course, we're only 5 wide on our foundation. The good news is, again, because it's 10 wide rather than 7, it buys us extra space to put in more benches to support the bigger airplanes. So should work out fine to have them like that, even if they're going to be doubled up. It's going to be there's going to be plenty of people in there crammed together, but that's okay. As long as they can move efficiently, we don't care. Now we're going to set up a staff room. We're going to just build a small little, kind of almost like a little token staff room, because we have to do that as part of the getting through the tutorial. So, and I mentioned this in the other video, but you have to get through the tutorial for certain things to happen. Like you can't just start, all the different pieces have to kind of flow. You have to do one thing before you open up the second thing. That only happens for a while. They're going to let us go and really just kind of play on our own here soon enough. But right now we're really doing the tutorial, even though I'm not following the steps of it. So we're going to put in a staff room. We're going to give it some desks. We're going to put in some seating and some plants and a floor, because I know that that's coming up. Those are things they're going to ask us to do as part of the tutorial. We want to just go ahead and do them in advance. And I was looking here to decide, many times I've put a couch like out in the middle, but I decided to just put some small chairs kind of in here next to the desk. I'm not sure what took me so long to commit to that. I guess I'm thinking again, wanted to make sure that's what I want to do. Put some plants in there next to them, and there we go. There's a nice little work area for some of our staff. Now, the other thing about this, when you're starting as we are with limited funds, trying to be aggressive, you don't want to be building stuff you don't need. So there's a lot of prettiness that we would like to add to the airport that we're not going to do till our money is just solid. So now I'm measuring that out to see what we ended up with. We ended up with 32, which means that 16 would be halfway. So I'm going to go out here 16 wide to tell me where's the center point of that. And since it's an even number, I'm going to put in 2 doors for symmetry's sake, one on each side. If it were an odd number, I would just use the 1. So if instead of 32 wide, it was 31, for example, we'd go out 15 and put 1 door in. It really doesn't matter. There's plenty of space there to get people through. 1 door, 2 doors. I actually don't think it matters at all. So we're going to set up a sidewalk that runs across here, and it needs to go to right there. And you'll see why it needs to go that far out for the little plan I have for early on. We're going to put in, here you go, we're going to put in a bus stop, which creates its own platform behind it, and a car stop and a taxi stop. And so now folks need to be able to get across from that over to the sidewalk that we've created. So we're going to have this loop around, and we're going to set it up as a one-way traffic, a little one-way loop, because we're only going to have the one width of road, one section of road, not 2. It won't be a double wide or whatever, however you want to say that. So now we need to have a checkpoint to allow our secure access. So our secure vehicles need to be able to come into the system. We'll run them down like so. And we left a couple of spaces down at the bottom in case we want to do something with public access going over to the west. Now we've got a hookup so that our service road can go up to the kind of implied service road that exists with each of the stands. Each of the stands, the 2 nearest the terminal there, are actually service road. And all we have to do is hook up to that to get our service going. In anticipation of what's coming, we're going to set up the avgas tank and what do they call it? I'm at a loss there. Whatever it is where you park your vehicles, parking deck for your service vehicles, we'll call it. And now I've set up the service road up on the top to hook them up. So now you can come in through the checkpoint, go up to your garage, and then you can go out of that garage, get your fuel, go up and service all those vehicles. So this is starting to look like an airport. And you'll notice we've still got $1.2 million left. And this is actually looking like an airport. And we're very early. We haven't even opened up general aviation yet. And I'm just going over it, double checking to see if I got everything. I thought I did. I thought I had everything. Turns out I was off one, but that's okay. So now we need some people to give us labor and come out here and do the work. So we're going to take the best deal we can get, the blue build. We're going to deploy everybody. This was a goof. I should have let it run for just, if I had let it run for just a moment so that the construction materials would come, because what happens is when you want to build something, you automatically order the construction materials. So there's a ton of materials that needs to come out for us to do all this building. If I had let this run for just a second, see the yellow buses? That's all our staff. Well, that white truck behind them has all our construction materials. If it was in front of them, then everybody, as they get off the bus, could go grab materials and start working. As it is now, I've put a delay in this because now we have to go through this slow process of unloading all these contractors and see all those stuff coming up there. So that was a goof. That slowed us down a little bit. This could have been even faster had I just simply let the thing run for a couple seconds just to get that material on its way before we deployed the contractors. So now I'm looking to see what we can hire. We want to have a CFO and a COO as quickly as we can. So I'm just looking here because we want to get the benefits of these executives as fast as we can. We want to hire our executives as fast as we can. So I'm just looking for most bang for the buck in terms of what their base cost is and what their level of experience is. And I used to always just simply go for the cheapest, but now I've started looking at it and thinking, okay, I'm going to train a person pay to train them, and they're going to get a little raise when I do that. So, I'm kind of being more aware of how far along are they at this point. And one of the reasons we hired the CFO is so now we can set our pricing. So what we're going to do is raise our pricing on everything as high as it can get without being exorbitant. So we're going to run it over to yellow or to red and then back it off into yellow. We'll just back it off once. So charge as much as we can without having people literally screaming at us. And that's going to cost us because our airport rating is going to suffer because we're charging a lot. On the other hand, if we have the money, we can create better services, always get plenty of staff, blah, 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 and provide better service. So our overall airport rating should be fine, and our passenger rating should be fine. Even though we're going to charge people to go to the bathroom, even though we're charging as much as we can from these people, we're should get decent ratings for a while, and then later on, if we want to go for a really great rating and get Airport of the Year or something like that, we can just back off our prices and let folks start appreciating the fact that we're such great service at reasonable prices. All right, so now we've set up our fees as high as we can get them. We want to get as much money, even when we get our general aviation planes. We want to take in as much revenue as we can. And you can see our guys are now doing their thing and doing a good job getting us built. Now, this approach does, the way I laid this out, they do spend a lot of time building the terminal, which slows us down a little bit because we could have just focused on the tutorial elements and just gotten the, like a runway and some taxiway and some stands set up and opened up the general aviation and gone faster. But it's okay. You'll see it's plenty fast enough. We're going to set up our staff room so that everybody can come in there except for contractors. We want the contractors out there in their area where the materials come in, because as soon as we start to build something, the materials come in, and that's their key to get started. So they need to be near the materials. So that little crosswalk there is because I realized that our employees they come in by public transportation to start with, and they can't get into the airport without that little crosswalk there to go across the highway or the little road we have coming in there to get over to the staff room. So we fix that, and once that gets built, and we're looking good. So we're going to set up the directions. These are basically the directions that the planes follow when they land. So you kind of map these out and tell them how you want them to move. And basically, if you go down the middle of the taxiway, you can see it's just out there, kind of looks like it's just hanging on its own. That's because we've got a single strip of grass taxiway, and that's where we're putting these directions. But they're in the middle of five wide space that will eventually be a fully developed taxiway. But we can absolutely run these without it. In fact, we could run them the whole game like this if we wanted to for the small ones with just a single strip. But to make it look better, once we have some money, we'll flesh out these taxiways and make them look like real taxiways, 5 wide and the whole bit. All right, so there we have the connection, got all those nice blue lights, looks nice at night, are the directions for our planes. So now we want to open these up, but there I realized here's the one thing I forgot. Out of all my planning, forgot to put in the air traffic control. So we're going to put that down here, and we're also going to put in a weather station so that we can get weather forecasts. And once that's built, and here comes the materials for it. And there we go. Now we have air traffic control built, and the weather station will get built. And we're going to be able to turn on our runways. You can see they're set up for landing and takeoff only, respectively. And we're going to open up our airport and allow general aviation, and off we go. Now, you guys tell me in the comments if there's any problem with hearing me over the music. I'm trying to get a little white noise from the game sounds and the music. It just covers up noises around my house, so that's my main reason for doing it. But if it's too loud, let me know. It's a little, I can hear it. It's a little strong on me, but that's okay. It's just it needs to. We need some white noise. We do. So at this point, we've done our major building. We're going to let all of our contractors go except for 10. And this is actually going to cause a little traffic jam too. But we kind of don't care right now. It's okay. We don't have big passenger flow or anything yet. We're still a little general aviation airport. At least we're just starting. See, we've just started. We've got a plane landed down. Now we've got the makings of an airport, and we're going to have our our contractors. Most of them go away, so we're not paying for them. We're also switching the side that you get on the bus, get on the taxi, get in your car, so that they match up with the direction, the side that the road is coming in on, so that the vehicles can just pull straight in rather than doing a U-turn every time they get up there. So you can see how this is working, and you can also see I'm missing a connection across the middle. See how the plane went up and then down? It shouldn't. It should go straight across, because if it's coming up and going across to the right or to the east, then it's going to be blocking or competing with people or planes that are trying to exit and trying to get up there to the takeoff ramp. So, I'm not even sure when I fix that, if I did. If we don't see it here, I'm going to have to make a note and go in and get that fixed. I think I fix it. I'm pretty sure I do. Okay, we've had planes land. We need to check now and see what's next. They want us to get into the avgas. So we're going to purchase a fuel truck that can deliver avgas to these general aviation flights. We've already built the fuel depot. Now we're looking for the best price on fuel, and it's clearly that guy. He's given us the best price for the avgas, and they were both the same on the jet fuel, which will come down the road. So there you can see the delivery truck coming up to deliver the fuel to our depot. And we just got a message: a new product has arrived, and that means that our truck is approaching us, so we can turn on the avgas service. At this point, you have to have the depot, you have to have a contract with a supplier, and you have to have at least one truck. Now notice the truck's going all the way down here to turn around to go back up. I'm not sure why they do that or all the pathing rules yet. I'm going to put in a little small service area there. Hopefully he'll be able to turn around in that and not take those ridiculous trips all the way down there to get back up to where he needs to go. Not sure why they don't just come out and turn left. There you can see our taxis and buses are behaving more normally, kind of pulling in the way you would expect them to, without making a U-turn to go backwards and another U-turn to come out. So now we're waiting. We have to refuel 5 of the general aviation aircraft before we can move on. So you can see our fuel trucks out there doing this thing. And there we go. Now we've moved ahead to the point where we can start our research. So we want to hire administrators. I noticed I'm going to train those guys up, our executives. And we want to hire administrators. We want to have 3 to start with because we're going to do 1 research project. That's all we can use them for. And the max you can put on that is 3. So we're going to hire 3 of these guys, the most cost-effective, combination of cost-effective and skill. And there's one I realized, I went so cheap, but she doesn't have any talent, so she's never going to get any better. So we want a better administrator. So even though they cost more, let's get somebody who's stronger so that everything gets accelerated. So we're going to start a new project and start our commercial license. This is the big research that you do. This is the one that kind of starts you to be in to having a real airport. So we're going to put all 3 of our new administrators on that research, and that's as fast as we can go with that research. So we've started delivering the avgas. We've got our general aviation going. You can see with the red over there on the lower right-hand corner of the screen that we're losing money every hour. Not surprising. That's all part of the plan. Losing money is part of the plan. And we can hear some of those little prop planes taking off. There you can see we lost $43,000 when all's said and done on our even on our net profit. That's not even counting any investment stuff we spent. So we're bleeding money, but that's okay. We've still got $900,000, and we really look at that. We've got an airport right there. It's ready to go. Now this little design, it's going to be interesting. I really don't know how it's going. I still haven't fixed that. It's going to be interesting to see how this works out as far as that merge, where the left-hand set of 6 come up. They just go straight across there. I may make them turn right and go down a little further before they try to get onto the exit runway. Like instead of right there going like that yellow one did, going straight up, I'm just might have it turn right to keep it from getting in a wait mode where it would hold up stuff that's going on in the runway. I think that's probably what we'll do. Now our research has finished because you can see all the green dots down there indicating there's new technologies available. So we're going to go in now and set up our airport to be commercial. So we're going to set up secure zones, and it's very important that those secure zones also include the doors that go out to the gates. So we're going to actually run the secure zones all the way out to the walls here. The walls don't matter. You don't get any secure zone or any kind of zone underneath the wall. And in fact, when you have walls and take them out, you have to watch out for that to make sure you reset the security the way you want it. But we're going to set up about half of our main terminal here to be a secure zone, and the other half will be just the normal entry that you can get in. And we'll set it up so that you go in through a security desk, a security checkpoint right here, and we're going to put that kind of right in the middle. We'll have a couple, we'll have a couple to handle the traffic, and really, in hindsight, now that I'm kind of watching myself play this, given the fact that we don't have anything going on over there to the east, we should have moved. I should have put these more over to the left of our screen, over to the west, because that's where all the action is going to be here early on. We're going to set up 10 check-in stands, and for now we're going to put them over here as you come in, to the right as you come in. And the reason I'm putting in so many is I'm planning to use a lot of airlines, and we could have a whole bunch of flights hitting at one time. I don't want to have I want to avoid as much as possible a situation where I don't have a check-in desk for a flight because we just don't have enough check-in desks, right? So we're going to have a bunch of check-in desks. We're going to have a couple of security entry points and a couple of exit points, one on each side. And again, that one over there to the east or to the right is really not useful right now. I mean, there's nothing going on over there, but that's okay. I like the symmetry of it, and we know we're going to need it down the road. So we're going to set up our boarding gates for each gate for each airplane stand out there, and match them up 1 to 1. And so that's going to give us looking pretty good. That'll give us the rudimentary commercial airport, because you can come in and check in, get your ticket and boarding pass. You can go to security and show your ID and go through security and go up to your gate, have a seat and wait. Then when you're called, you can board your flight through a boarding gate to the stand and take off. Those people who land can come on down and find that security exit and get out of there. So now we're also going to build bathrooms while we're at it. We'll set up a couple of bathrooms. They're all going to be out here. May rethink this and put bathrooms up in the actual gate areas, but for now we're just going to do it like this. We're going to do 6 by 7 kind of a deal. Have these are actually, even though they're compact, they're actually pretty big bathrooms. There's 8 commodes that we'll put in there. We'll run hand washers across the back, if you will, and maybe put flowers in the corners, which I'll do here when I decide there. I'll delete that one. By the way, just mechanically, you click these to put them down. And while you're holding a particular item that you're working with, if you don't like where you put it, you can delete it by hitting Control and clicking, and it'll delete it. So we're going to take that form and copy it over to the other. Oh, I'm sorry, that's flooring. We're going to give it flooring. I often just don't even use the flooring, but I really should. It looks so much better. So now we're going to put in hand dryers, which I don't even think are 100% necessary for the bathrooms, but they kind of should be. All right, so now we give it a couple of doors. There's 2 entry-exit points. It's a shame you can't set up. The way it's designed is really meant for you to flow. You come in, that door to the left as we're looking at it, you do your thing, you go down and wash, you dry on the way out, and you leave. But you can't control the flow, so people just come in there and kind of stomp all over each other. But we're going to copy that in, then we're going to blow up 4 of the commode areas and replace them with urinals, because this is going to be the men's room. There we go. Now we've got a bathroom set for near our staff, which will be useful. They need it too. And we're going to put another one over here to the west on the other side, kind of partially for symmetry and partially just to give us better coverage. Now that we're looking at commercial, we'll get a message saying we've got to take care of security, and we're going to be observed more closely because we're going to be looking at commercial flights. And now we've got our 10 builders doing their thing. Remember, we have 167 possible we can work with. We sent 157 of them home, or 167, 170, whatever it was. We've kept 10. And so now we're going to duplicate our bathroom and put it over here on this side and have it kind of the same spacing out. And what I'm doing there, I duplicated the form of it with the walls. Then that tells me where I need to put the bathroom zoning. And then once I have the zoning, I can copy the contents of a bathroom and paste it over, because it won't copy unless it's properly zoned. So, the destination has to be zoned. So you can see there the flowers actually went in just fine because they don't require zoning, but everything else was bathroom specific, so it needs to be zoned properly. And I realized here that in my little design, we forgot to put doors to the men's room, which could be frustrating for the gents, that's for sure. Female only, open it up, there we go. And these bathrooms, we could have waited on this. That's another thing. If you were really, trying to optimize your speed, do a speed run here, you wouldn't even, well, you probably wouldn't even use bathrooms, but if you used them, you would hold off and build these after you got all the secure stuff going, because that's what's keeping us from opening up the airport as a commercial airport. And I haven't always used these, but decided to put some vending machines in here too. So we're going to do a thing with vending machine, trash can, vending machine. And I was thinking about putting them in the exact same way, but I decided now I want to put the trash can in there. It's easier. And so there's two types of vending machines. I'm not sure what they are. Probably drinks and snacks. But we'll put those in there, and with a trash can nearby. And what we need now is to get these boarding desks finished off and get those hooked up with our gates so that we can start flights, basically. All right, so we've got open bathrooms, and we're starting to make progress on getting our boarding desks done. So we'll start the process of associating the boarding desk. So what we do is we associate the boarding desk with a particular gate or stand, and then we'll go into the stand itself and set it to be a commercial gate. Right now they're all by default set up as general aviation. We're going to hit that switch and flip them over to commercial and give them assign a boarding desk to them. And that way each of these will be set up to the flights will get scheduled to those boarding desks or those gates. And this way we'll know where do you check, where do you go, where do you board, which one handles your flight, that kind of stuff. So again, this is a little bit. This is one of those you wish you could select a bunch of these and just do the command one time. That would be awfully nice if you could just select all your gates and hit that, select them all, hit that button and say, okay, make them all commercial. Then I don't even, connect the nearest boarding desk automatically. That would be nice too, but that's okay. It's a little clumsy the way it is, a little tedious to have to do it for all of them, but that's all right. So now the other thing, once you have commercial gates, you need to have commercial runways. So we just turned on the commercial setting on the runways as well. So now they can do general aviation and commercial. Just kept the general aviation on there just to get rid of these planes. We've still got some general aviation planes that have come in prior to us making the changes, so we want to give them the opportunity to leave. we could turn off our landing. We could turn general aviation off our landing if we wanted to, make sure no more came in. But it really doesn't matter because they'll get out of there before you have a problem. So now we've got all that set up, and now it opens up for us the opportunity to hire the folks that we need. So we're going to want to have, first of all, we're going to look at our executives and fill out the suite. We want to have all the positions filled because they all offer good benefits to our cost reduction and efficiency and what have you. So we want to get all those people staffed. So I'm going through and looking for, again, the best combination of ability and salary. Lowest salary, highest ability, obviously. So we'll train up our executive suite, and now we should be looking good there. And now we can just go out. We're going to hire every available passenger agent, ramp agent, security officer, because we need a bunch. The instructions tell you hire at least 4. Well, we're certainly going to do that. We're going to hire everybody. We're going to throw in 1 service technician, probably not needed at this point necessarily, but we'll get 1 to do repairs to planes or whatever if needed, and we'll get 1 janitor to get started, and then we'll monitor this the staffing and see how it goes. That guy right there is kind of weak. If see, after we trained him, he was still just a yellow, so his days are probably limited. If I'm diligent enough, I will probably go back and say, yeah, buddy, thanks for coming, replace him with somebody else. But now we've got our staff all trained up, and now we need to enable the ramp service. So that ramp service is basically saying that our ramp agents, when a plane comes in and lands, they will request ramp agent service, and that means that the ramp agents will go around the plane and visually inspect it and make sure it's cool. And so we definitely want that turned on. That's one of our turnaround services. There's a bunch of them. There's fueling, catering, cleaning, etc., and we'll get into all those later on. So now we're at a point where we can start looking at getting flights. So we're going to go out and sign contracts with airlines. Now, I haven't done a lot of study on this to say what's the best approach. The approach we're going to take is we're going to sign a deal with everybody. And it doesn't cost you anything to sign it, doesn't cost you anything to reject it. So we're going to sign with all the available airlines. The hopes is to get a full dance card as quickly as possible. So we've got auto planner on because we have the chief operating officer, and there you go. They just set a schedule for us, and I did. Trust me, it's as good or better than I could have done. Or as well as better. So we're going to sell off that avgas truck because for now we're not going to have any general aviation. We're just going to have commercial flights. So we're going to sell off that thing. We've finished our commercial license, so now our next research is going to be jet fuel for 2 reasons. One, it's extremely fast. This is a very fast. All you're doing is signing up paperwork. This is to get the permit to do fuel. So we're going to sick all 3 of our admins on that and get that done. And then we're going to go out here and open up program group 1. And you'll see later why we're taking this approach as far as the research goes. So we're going to order up 4 of these fuel trucks. I think, yep, 4 fuel trucks. Make sure we have plenty. We're in the process of tearing down our fuel depot that was holding the avgas. We're going to replace it with a fuel depot holding jet fuel. And we've already got the trucks ordered and on the way. We've got a garage for them to park in. And you can see we're getting customers now. We have passengers coming in and going through security. And now what we want to do is set up some queues, make it a little more organized. So we'll just set up some nice snaking queues for our security check-in or checkpoints. And we can do the same thing for our check-in desks and put queues on those. All right, so we are hopping here. We're getting people queued up to take flights. We are getting people, passengers landing, going through security, and going on about their way. We've got our fuel trucks in. We already had the contract signed. It's the same provider as gave us the avgas. And now all we have to do is turn on the jet fuel service. And now as these jets come in, they will start requesting the ramp agent service, and they'll start requesting the refueling. So we'll be able to do both services for them. You can see passengers coming in, exiting through security, going out the door. You notice we've getting a bit of a backup in our ground transportation. Not a concern. That is not a concern right now. I'm not worried about that at all. My approach for this is going to be to not have that problem. I'm just going to avoid that problem, and you'll see how later. You've actually seen it if you watched the other video. So now we're going to just keep an eye on our staffing. It's really nice. You can hit operations, staff, and see where you might have jobs that haven't been filled. That's a little deceiving because it's really looking at the actual number of tasks that need to be done at that moment. So you sometimes could potentially overhire if you say, oh, I've got 5 janitor tasks. Well, yeah, but you might not have 5 if you waited a few minutes. But in general, if you look at that, and here's the same thing with the vehicles, we can do the same check with the vehicles to see if we have adequate supply. And we do. We really have a little overkill with the fuel right now. And each one of those vehicles costs you hourly upkeep, so you don't want to go crazy and have 10 of them, and one for each gate or something. It's just overkill. And look at this. Look at that. We made a little net profit for the day. And right behind that, we got $1 million award because we've shown a lot of potential. It's just something you get as you get through the regional airport and get onto that international airport part of the tutorial. So we're going to wrap up right there with a very successful first 2 days, really. We're in day 3 now, and we're in the morning of our 3rd day. We've got commercial flights going, a nice full dance card, and in the next episode we're going to figure out how we can actually turn this into a profit so that we can accumulate enough cash to move into a medium aircraft. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next Airport CEO video. Thank you.